Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and this video we're breaking down Gen V Episode 5. Last week made you tech yourself before you wrecked yourself, and this week starts to unveil the whole truth. The entry gives us some answers about what's going on, whilst also throwing a couple of curveballs our way. Throughout this video, we're going to be breaking down the Easter eggs, hidden details, and also talking about that ending to discuss where things could be going for episode 6 next week. Heavy spoilers ahead, so if you haven't had a chance to check it out, then I highly recommend that you check out now. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up and make sure you subscribe for breakdowns on the show every week. With out of the way, huge thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into Gen V Episode 5. So we pick up immediately after last week, in which we saw Sam going wild at Dr. Cadosa's. Just before things were about to man up, we watched as they pulled a WandaVision and then cut out a scene. Even in the opening recap, we get some WandaVision inspired stuff and change things up and mess about with what Marie said. Here's a line in episode 4. And here's the line how it's played in the recap.
We're gonna make it work.
I think Cate might even be messing with reality as a whole, but we'll talk about this more later on in the video.
We're sorry. We're sorry.
We will talk about it in just a bit, but we wake up with her and Andre with stuff dripping on his face which he sees coming from the room above. Revealed to be a girl with a blowhole. I kinda hope that her and the Deep, they get to know each other because I think those guys could work out. Now in the comics, there were lots of fish women during the Herogasm arc, and I wonder if it's sort of giving us the student dorm version of that. When we cut to the couple, we can see the guy vibrating his hand, which is something that a lot of speedsters can do in the comics. Eobard Thawne actually used to use it to kill people, and it's something the DCEU version of the Flash did when fighting the Kryptonians. Yeah, he's using the vibrations to make a vibrate, but you know what I'm saying, and in the end, it completely soaks the ceiling. Also, is that a llama? Well, this is actually someone known as Sloan, who, it turns out, is actually a student. Guessing this is the Gen V version of Beast or something, or a villain like Cheetah, or just an actual llama. You never know these days. Either way, pulling Maverick along, we missed this in our first breakdown, but we did learn that he's actually Translucent's son. He appeared during Season 2 Episode 1, and was present at his dad's funeral sitting in the front row. We also see a room that's got a fire breather, with fire breath being something that several comic characters can do. We also saw that orderly getting fire breathed at them in the woods, which could potentially be linked in with this kid. Also there's this weird sort of scaly metallic-y feathery thing just to the left in front of the girl, who looks like she's wearing what's dragon scale armor. Don't know what's going on with that, but it might be linked in with the fire breather, and if you have more of an idea then drop it in the comments below. Anyway, they stumble in to see Marie and Jordan in bed together, and the former kinda goes back and forth over what's happened with them. As we know, Jordan can change gender, and the pair don't even remember what's happened with each other. In the room we can also catch a Maeve poster on the wall, and a cutout of most of the 7 above the bed. Cut to Emma, who's still in giant cricket mode, which makes me think the entire thing after Sam was a complete blackout. Since then, the group have spent days in a sort of state of just being out of it, which is why Emma never bothered shrinking down. We see videos from the party on the TikTok of someone called Super Kid, and can catch Rat Girl and Justine returning too. Sam also chugs a keg of beer, which is a normal size to her due to her being giant. Captain Obvious there, but none of them remember anything, which we later learn was brought on by Cate. We've actually had hints towards her messing with people's memories, which is why Luke didn't remember what happened with his brother. During episode 3, when she was there comforting him, it was almost like she was pushing him down a certain road. Sam was still alive, but Luke had thought he died, likely due to Cate telling him to forget and then create that memory. Jordan immediately starts questioning things, and we see as Cate also drinks from a can of Turbo Rush. Next to Andre, we can also catch a Dawn of the Seven tin and a poster of Starlight up beside Jordan's head. Cut to Emma and Marie sitting next to a superhero square sign with the former also wearing a God You hoodie. For the show, they made it a university, whereas in the comics it was more like Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters. As we get a wider shot of the room, we can also see another Dawn of the Seven stand, this time featuring none other than Starlight. Emma says,
No, I've known ever since the Buster Beaver incident.
And Buster Beaver is something that we've seen in the show before. This is where Black Noir hid out during Season 3, and its cartoon characters are what he saw in his visions. Clearly, this is a big staple of a lot of people's childhoods, and I wonder if Sam might hide out there at some point. Now he shows up here, but it becomes clear from the memory thing that none of them remember him or even know he exists. Whereas in the past it was just Luke who was wiped out, here we see they don't recall him at all.
They made you forget.
Cate's obviously been someone that they've greatly used to aid them, and we see how they tend to go to soups that can help further their ends. This is in the case of Marie, and also Rufus too, who I was under the impression that he was the one who caused the blackout. He's clearly a weaker kind of Cate though, as Marie had to go in close in order for it to work. He also couldn't mess with their memories, which is something that Cate's power set includes. Also like how Sam doesn't know what TikTok is because the guy's been in the woods in Sage Grove for probably most of his life.
Maybe you saw us on TV or TikTok or something?
Tick-tock?
Now Marie can sense that Sam has blood that isn't his under his fingernails, and she can also sense when Emma's period's coming too. This was what ended up bringing on her powers, and it does sort of tie this together. Now outside, Cate plays along she can't remember anything, but she recalls Tech Knight being at the party. I doubt he'd show up to this kind of party, but to be fair, there's probably a lot of holes that need filling. That one on the girl's back. However, her remembering this shows that it's just an act, as everyone else has nothing but complete blank spots. Andre also says that he blew off the Hayley Miller show, who we met in episode 2 when she was interviewing Marie. She also pretends to not know who Sam is, but she would of course remember him from what happened with Luke. Cate knew about Sam through her relationship with him and thus would likely remember him from beyond the last few days. Now outside we see Dusty, who's one of those kids that looks 14 but he's actually 28. You know them, you knew them at school. And Rufus gets the blame and sort of becomes a big red herring. Worked on me because I thought it was him too, but I still don't know how he's walking around without a dick, and I don't think Theory Time will ever give us the answers to that. Makes me glad though, after what he did to Cate, and as we theorized, his name was based on Rufy. We find out he did something horrific when he was with her, and yeah, to be fair, explode the guy's balls as well. To me, it's one of the darkest things that's ever been brought up in the show, with her being convinced on camera to consent to what he was doing. And this might also explain why she wears gloves, and this is so she at least has control over her power. This trauma may make her want to be restricted on inflicting it on others, and we do know what happened with her brother. However, we see as she's still willing to control people, and Shetty's sort of doing the same thing with her, though she doesn't possess the powers. What she does though is possess a position of power, and she's telling her to do stuff, and then she's then going on to do that herself. Shows that power doesn't exist just with the superpowers, and that humans can take it on too and mimic what they see around them. Lots of complex themes going on in this episode, and we also discover Cate's got a darker side to her. Anyway, at the woods, we see Cadosa's shook and learn that he's actually working on a virus. He also requests Marie to study her abilities, and it all ties into what I think's going on. And that takes us in a theory time. Theory time, got a bit of a sore throat, so it doesn't sound as good. What do you mean? Oh, it sounded shit. So as we talked about on our breakdowns before, the risk of superpowered kids turning into supervillains is rising exponentially. The corporate attitude of Vought is growing greedier and greedier, with more and more soups lining up to step in the place of the ones who step out of line. In the last couple of decades, there weren't that many soups, so the company didn't have as much power over them. Now though, the characters can easily be replaced, and thus they don't value the soups that they have as much. There's also the fact that so many kids were injected with V who came from bad homes that this gave them bad upbringings and also traumatic pasts. Some have powers that can't be controlled, and to be honest, if you had these abilities, would you listen to the law? I doubt many would, and the centers like Sage Grove and so on have to be created to keep them all in check. However, the soups are becoming more and more dangerous, and thus the powers that be have been looking for other ways to control them. By the sounds of this virus could nullify their kind and wipe them out en masse across the entire world. This is something that we saw in the comics, with there also being a frequency that could cause their heads to explode. This put them in massive danger, with the good soups of course being affected by it too. Due to Marie's abilities, I think they may use her as a way to spread the virus quickly, because if she can contaminate blood, then it could unleash it worldwide. She could also be selective over who got what, and thus could pick and choose which soups died. Now we also hear she has a benefactor, but don't learn who this is, and I think it might be one of the higher up humans that we've met before. My guess, right, would be that it's Stan Edgar, as he's been ousted from his company and is kind of powerless to stop Homelander. This would give him the ability to do it, but it also could be Vic Newman, who is running her own endgame. She likely wants to be the one who ends up in the White House, and the soups trying to stop her would cause a lot of issues. Thus she needs a way that she can rein them in, and a virus like this would provide limitless value. If the Supes ever rose up, she could use it as part of a campaign and help keep her in power, as she'd be seen as a savior. Also, I'm wondering if this virus was inspired by real world events, and yeah, we're going to see how it plays out because they are clearly focused on it. Now, Cadosa wants to experiment on Marie, but Shetty forbids it, and again, this ties into the Mengele Health Clinic line.
Turns out the school is a fucking Mengele health clinic.
He was a Nazi scientist that carried out human experiments, which Cadosa himself is also trying to do. Now, I kind of get the feeling we might get a sort of Carrie moment come the end, where Marie just unleashes and goes completely wild. I can definitely see it just being like a bloodbath, with her looking similar to how Carrie did as well. So yeah, lots of things going on there, and that's end of theory time. Just one echo this time because it gets a bit annoying. Now back at the campus, we see Emma gaining fame, and she passes by a turbo rush vending machine. Marie and Jordan have a bit of an awkward conversation too, due to him shutting it down and refusing to discuss what happened. Spotting Rufus with Shetty, Marie says she doesn't trust her, and potentially she was there when they got wiped. These memories may be starting to seep in, with her body remembering even if she doesn't. This is something that they discuss with Cate too, and Luke obviously had this with his visions of Sam as well. Catching up to Rufus, they say he's being impersonated by a shapeshifter named Benny, but that doesn't mean that he's out of the hot water yet. Getting back to his room, we see Andre locks them in together, and he does this by pulling bars across the doors and windows. Cut back to episode 1, and you might remember Marie asking why they were locked in, with this clearly spelling out it's for security reasons. When she first entered the school, we saw this on the door too, with her being almost like that maximum security room. This is clearly because of how powerful the Supes are, and they might need to contain and shut them down quickly. Going back to that first episode, if you look closely, you can actually catch the bars just above the window, which we see drop down here. Now Rufus says that Cate attacked him and brings up Jumanji, which is what she told them to do during the first 3 episodes.
Fucking Jumanji.
And every time you swing, yell Jumanji. Sound good?
Can't remember what one it was because I watched them all together, but don't ask me, it was a long day that day. Now Cate being able to get Rufus to do this shows how powerful she is in comparison to him. She can out and out tell people to do stuff, whereas he kinda has to hypnotize them and just make them black out. Andre blacks out too at this point, and he comes to an Avoda burger, which has been mentioned throughout most of the series.
Wanna get some Burger? I could kill for Mocha Noir.
Homelander's grinning on the drink, and Emma's smiling too after making it to the top 100. Her giant stuff's popping up, which goes against what her mother wants, which again feels like it's bringing out her rebellious side. Against Emma's wall, we also see that Queen May poster again, which was a parody of 2017's Wonder Woman. There's also Big Crazy Love 2, which featured another miniature hero in the unforgettable Termite. Once you see his scenes, you'll never forget them. Now after getting Marie to admit she likes Jordan, Emma discovers her driving shirt, which comes from the one that she and Sam hid out at. Known as Stardust, this is a Planet Hollywood parody packed out with lots of Supes movies. Now elsewhere, we get one of the most creative scenes in the boys' history, with Sam taking out lots of puppet SWAT team members. During this, he sees a puppet version of Emma who's wearing the shirt that he really started to like her in. The Stardust stuff would be a really fun memory for him, and though he's seen her in other clothes, yeah, this would be what he would imagine her wearing, I'm guessing. Either way, it shows the dangers of the Supes, with a teenager taking out highly trained men. This is all spurred on by his mental health issues, which is something the comics have tackled before with both Moon Knight and the Sentry. Here Sam goes into an almost childlike version of the world, and the puppets allow him to carry out horrendous acts without him feeling the impact. So funny just watching him rip these puppets apart, and we also get the idea that he's actually bulletproof.
I have a single dad with 2 daughters. Their names are Haley.
Fucking hell, mate. Just got such a dark sense of humour, and though we can't show it, when we see what actually went on, it's pretty messed up. Now back with Marie and Emma, they start to suspect the school might be involved, and we learn that Shetty's instructing Cate. Against Emma's dresser, we can also catch a Big Crazy Love 1 poster, and also little mini clothes for when she shrinks down. She's got some really tiny ones, and even toddler dresses, as her size depends on how much that she vomits. Now Emma asks why Marie's scratching her neck, like Tyrone Bigham's, and hey, Amazonia, y'all got any of those Boys Season 4 trailers yet? It turns out some people aren't just paranoid, and we actually learn that they've all got tracking devices in them. implanted under the skin. The entire group has them, again highlighting how it goes just beyond Rufus. This is a big conspiracy involving the Woods, and after Marie goes to scan Cate's neck, she then decides to wipe her. This all happens in Andre's room, and we can catch a polarity poster on the wall. This is for his movie Area 51, which was actually mentioned earlier in the season. On TV, we can also see one of Starlight's skincare commercials, and as we know, she had a big time with these in Vought. Now we then cut to Jordan, who's talking with Maverick about how they've had to wrestle with gender in the past. All the people she's dated, she had to fit into whether they wanted to be with a guy or girl. Thus, Jordan's not able to really be themselves, and they have to fit themselves into a box in order to make the other person happy. Now Maverick then brings up hiding in toilets, which, as we know, his dad does too. Marie then comes out, and if you look on the wall, you can see a bulletin board containing Homelander, Maeve, and also Crimson Countess. Marie does remember how she got her cut, and also the conversations from before that she had with Jordan. However, Cate of course hasn't managed to get to the rest yet, so Jordan stares down like, what the hell's going on? Now from here, we quickly get those answers, and we cut to Shetty stirring some tea, which I kind of feel is riffing on Get Out. This was used as a way to hypnotize people, and it's clear that Cate's under her control. Again, it speaks to who the true power is, as, this isn't involving her having powers, but with her being a corporate leader, she's clearly able to control her actions. The supes like Cate could easily kill their masters, but they're kept in place by superficial things. This is stuff like popularity and being accepted, which Shetty also uses to keep Cate in line. However, Cate knows a lie is spiraling out of control and can't keep on top of all the people that she's been wiping. In the early episodes, Cate was saying how her pusher abilities were causing a strain, and I wonder if she'd been just constantly wiping Luke. Now from here we cut to Burger Shack, which is when we see Emma meeting up with Sam. The tagline talks about a tasty burger, which might be riffing on Jules from Pulp Fiction.
This is a tasty burger.
As she goes in, we see a payback poster and also one for Shockwave's movie Race to Death. Shockwave actually died during season 2, with his movie poster having an ironic twist to it. Now he was actually a parody of Wally West, and he replaced A-Train as the fastest supes at this point. Sam confirms Cate made Luke forget his brother, and we then cut to her travelling out to Andre's. Out in his room, we see there's also a Golden Boy poster, showing how he kinda still hangs over the pair. On the TV, we catch them watching a show called Mesmerizer, which is such a cool meta joke inserted in the show. We've actually seen Mesmer before in the main series, and he was actually played by Haley Joel Osment. He was a child star like Mesmer was too, and he starred in this TV show during the 1990s. Here he played a psychic detective, and then became a member of Teenage Kicks. Unfortunately though, he started using his powers for bad, and got caught up in insider trading. Mesmer was cut out of by Vought, and he also lost custody of his daughter, with him basically being a supe that showed he could be replaced. I think him using his powers this way is reflected in Cate, who would also end up getting in trouble too. Now Andre wants the pair to just both leave the school, and though she loves this dream, she knows that it's not possible. Shetty has her completely under control, and no matter what, she's not going to let her leave. They still have a happy moment though, but unfortunately it's cut short by what's happening with Rufus. Jump to him watching Mesmerizer as well, which is when Marie and Jordan burst into the room. Dusty backs him up though and says that it's not him, and you can also catch a poster for Black Noir as well. Right beside him is one for a different drink by A-Train, and hey, I'm just getting used to Turbo Rush, mate. What the hell's this? At this point we also see Emma calling Marie, who then pulls out her phone. It's kind of blurred, but you can see the background's Queen May, which I actually think is a nice little detail. Emma tells them that it's Cate, but Andre busts in, which is what leads to Cate revealing the truth to him. We now see elements of the previous episodes revealing the whole truth, and it's a real gut punch for the character to learn. Love the shot how we have Andre crying, whereas with Cate we see that her eyes are bloodshot. Just gives the idea that she's a bit of a monster, which we get as the final line as Andre leaves.
Please, understand, I didn't.
You're a fucking monster.
To the sound of I put a spell on you, it sums up that she's like a sort of witch, playing into the whole Wanda and Jean Grey thing. Now, I really think, well, Jean Grey's not a witch, but you know what I mean. You guys are smart. You watch breakdowns and learn stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Now, I really think, I'm sorry, these videos are pretty crap on there, but we'll keep going, and I really think that we're seeing the bare bones of her powers, and if she can affect someone's idea of reality, she may be able to do more. Like I said earlier, there's lots of WandaVision themes, and I'd love it if they really ramped that up to show her manipulating people to live in her view of the world. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that she changes reality, but she could alter how people perceive things. Makes you wonder if she can implant memories as well, as Luke thought that his brother had died. You'd surely have to see this or hear about it to think that's the case, and yeah, it's starting to make me think she might be one of the keys to the show. Potentially, she might even end up wiping Shetty's memories and destroying all knowledge of the woods as we close the season out. Think more likely though that we'll see the virus getting made, which will then be something that plays into the main show. My worry with Gen V was that it wouldn't really matter, but I think with this element it'll easily pay off down the line. It's such a major factor when it comes to controlling the soups, and it's a really good way to take things into the future. Now, as for my thoughts on this episode, I think it was probably the weakest so far, but you know, they're batting at such a high average that it's difficult to really fault it. Had some really good standout moments in it, and all of the stuff with Sam and the puppets were great, which was then elevated by the general mystery going on. Just never been a massive fan of amnesia stories and where characters try and catch up to where they were originally. Still though, this came with some brand new knowledge and it took Cate in a really interesting direction. I love the way that they've developed these characters, and they really hit a point where they're deeply layered people. In episode 1, when she showed up kissing Luke, I just thought we were going to be getting another stereotypical cheerleader type. Thought Luke was going to be a jock too, but they've done such interesting things with them that I think are really good. I'm super interested in seeing where the show's going to go next, and it's really got me hooked around this whole mystery. Guessing that the entire school's going to get destroyed, but with the boys, you never really know. Everyone might even end up getting sent to Elmira, and this is so Vought can come out on top again and cover it all up. So yeah, lots of things to talk about, and let me know your thoughts on the show below. Please drop a like on the video, and if you want to support the channel as a member of the Spoiler Society, then please click the join button. You'll get early access to videos every week, and it goes such a long way to helping us out. If you want to get some heavy spoilers merch, we've also got our t-shirt line located just below the video that will let you pick up all kinds of tops like our Who Time one, Loki one, which we've just dropped, so go check that out, Ahsoka ones, House of Dragon stuff, Marvel tees, and a lot more. We drop new designs on there all of the time, so definitely keep an eye out for them, and yeah, thank you to everyone who's bought one as it massively helps us out. Now if you want something else to watch, we've got a breakdown on screen right now, so definitely head over there right after this. Without the way, huge thank you for sticking through the video. I've been Paul, I'll see you next time. You take care, peace, I'm out.